I'm going to build a 400 card deck to try to get every achievement at once. That's a problem.
Yeah, but
And
do you need don't have a card over 100 achievement, like silly stuff like that? It's gonna.
I don't think there's one that says that.
Well, why are people playing decks that have just ones and tens?
Well, there are achievements that say don't have a particular number, and then again, people just kind of combine them all.
Battle
So-
decks do that a lot.
It's
It's
really
all-
the combination of all these, the Tribbles achievements
are nice,
should probably
but
be.
combining them is bad.
Yeah, the Tribbles achievements should probably have all been like, you can get one of these per deck, or one per category. It shouldn't be like you can throw 50 copies of every Tribble in your deck and play a 7,000 card deck that you don't ever bring to a.
Hey,
Table.
I've brought all of my 150 card decks to events, and then it fell over and slid the entire way down the table.
Nice.
Charlie, have you ever had an opportunity to play a triples game with Josh and Justin?
Yeah, played online with them several times.
I've never seen a more parasitic relationship than those two right there. If Josh ever plays a real deck, Justin wouldn't know what to do. I think he might start crying.
It is possible.
All right, we ready for the live opening? I did a triples cold opening to show that we don't hate each other before the show starts. All right, let's rock and roll.
No, I
All
still
right.
hate it.
All right, folks, welcome to the Discard Pile Special Edition. It is July, whatever the fuck, 2015. And we have a special edition because this is the last time anyone's going to see me for a while. I'm going to be hitting the road soon, starting a new career. And it's also a special edition because we have a very hot topic we need to address. My guest today, first time we're ever doing a day show, is the chairman, dear leader, Charlie Plaine. Welcome, Charlie.
I am not dear leader.
And my other guest is the errata czar, Josh Sheets. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, Charlie, I tried, man. I tried to get another pro COC person on the show, but you're the only one with the courage to stand up and get in the ring.
We'll see what happens. So.
All right, before we start, though, Charlie, I gotta say, I love you, right? Before we get into it.
That's what you say right now. Yeah, I love you too, John.
All right, let's get that out of the way. But
I'm stuttering like Ben Hosp. I gotta.
well, calm down. But like I said, well, now I'm gonna be gone for a while, so I got nothing to lose. So we're gonna mix up the gloves. Let's just we'll keep it above the belt. But I'm gonna start it off with just some general questions just to see where we're at. My first general question, Charlie, is what are the message boards? Are the message boards a public forum or a sanctuary?
The message boards are a tool to facilitate communication about the Star Trek CCGs and the Tribble CCG. That is what they are. They are neither a public forum nor a sanctuary.
It's not a public place?
It's not a public place. It is not a public place. That is a common misconception that this is a public place. It really isn't. It's a tool provided by the continuing committee to allow people to connect, talk about Trek. Now it has evolved into a lot of other things. We have a lot of not like. I think that if you sort of retroactively applied, anything that's off topic, anything that's not about Trek gets locked. It would be fine. The game would still have evolved and existed. It is a forum. It is a place to facilitate communication. It is not a bastion of free speech. It is not a place where you have speech without consequences. It is not a sanctuary to hide from mean people.
Now, once again, one thing I had a problem with the observation lounge is that a lot of people took 100 words to say something they could have said in 20. What are the requirements to join the message boards?
As far as I know, there are none. Just prove you're not a robot.
So wouldn't that be public? Is there any private? Why? It's a public place.
Well, there are private forums.
What's private
But
about it?
it is a public. John, I understand your point, but it is also it is not your right to be on the forums. You can go to a public park and stand there as long as you don't have your dongle hanging out, But
Okay,
it is not.
But we're not. No one's got their dog out on the message boards.
Not well, maybe I don't know.
We've come close a couple of times.
But the point is, it's not like you are not entitled to be part of the forum.
Do you have to pay? You don't have to pay to go on the forums. There's public and there's private. There's no qualifications or entry fee to get on the message boards. Isn't it by definition a public entity, a public place?
It is a forum on the internet, John. It's a tool for communication. You're trying to make it something it's not. It is nothing but a place where you can post messages that other people can then read. That is it.
Josh, tell me where I'm wrong here.
You're arguing different points. That's where the conflict is. Charlie has it's the tool versus yours is we're talking around and then things just happen to be done there for other things.
Oh man, it's not good if we're starting off on the wrong. We're miles. So we're starting from a gap. So that's right.
Okay, but okay,
that's probably part of it.
But the answer to your question is, it's a privately run site that is currently open to anyone who wants to be part of it.
Every website, we're a volunteer group. No one owns. Who owns the website?
Technically, me.
All right. Okay.
I'm just saying, as an entity, there is no corporate entity that is the continuing committee. That has been a whole nother issue. Everything is technically in my name. Like, I own the domain. I have the account with the hosting company. So technically,
but you don't want to be. Don't you want it to be known as you want it so it's a private club now?
That's not what I said, John.
All right, but
you're putting words in my mouth, and I'm willing to have this discussion. I'm willing to be open and honest, but you can't put words in my mouth. I didn't say it was a privately run. But you're trying to make it out like this is a public place where anybody can go and without breaking the law do whatever they want to do, right? You're trying to equate it to a public park.
Hold on. The law.
Okay. Whatever. My point is, you're trying to equate it to a public park where people can just go and hang out and talk.
Yes.
Hey, Charlie, can I ask you something? Have you ever watched any of these discard piles before?
I have been on several of them, but
we all know Charlie. Like I said, he's got the courage to come in here. He's got balls. We're not going to say, but I'm just trying to set the general parameters from where we start the conversation after that. Okay.
I understand what you're saying, and I acknowledge your point that there's no barrier to entry to the forum.
Okay.
There's no barrier to entry to the forum. Anyone who wants to be part of the forum can be part of the forum.
And I'll get to later. We'll get back to when you said the law, and we'll get to that in a minute. But that's fine.
Well, it was an analogy. Don't.
I know, but it's going. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Sure.
All right. So the next thing is the word that we hear all the time is disparaging, and it is a negative connotation to the word. And what does that mean to you? What's the definition of disparaging, Charlie?
It's tough. I mean, I can look it up in the dictionary, but I know that's not what you're looking for. To me,
actually, I kind of am.
Well, I mean, dictionary.com or Merriam-Webster.com is my preferred.
Expressing the opinion that something is of little worth.
Yes. To lower in rank or reputation, to depreciate by indirect means, speak slightingly about. So basically, it is devaluing someone. I would say is a good summary.
Someone or something. Yeah.
Someone or something, but in this particular case, someone, because you can devalue things. Like you can devalue. I think this set is bad. I think that opinion is wrong. That has never been the problem.
You can disparage anything. You're just saying that something or someone is of little worth.
If you're just talking the definition, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now, my question really is: now, is it a sin if it's correct? If something is of little worth, if someone has done a poor job, or if a department has done a poor job, is it a sin to say so?
But I don't think that's what disparaging is. Like,
not in a vile, personal way. Just saying that I got in trouble. Organized play has done a poor job, and they are of little worth. I disparage organized play. Some people got mistaken, but is that a sin? If it's correct, it's an opinion, but you know.
I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure that the question you're asking has an answer.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if something's accurate, come on, we all know when something does. When we say, "Oh, we made a mistake," we do it all the time. We made a mistake, and we don't blame the people.
But who says it's of little worth? You. That's not an objective fact. There is no objective definition that this is of little worth.
So it's of course, all right. It's opinion, but to ban someone for an opinion is if you do it in a constructive way, just the fact of itself, you disparage something, so now you're punished. Isn't that excessive?
I don't necessarily think so. I think there are ways to say the same thing without making the people that are involved feel that disparagement. You know.
Well, usually it's I say something about a department or even Gen Con, and then someone turns it into a person, but that's different. Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
Problem is disparaging by that using to make of little worth or belittle, so on and so forth. You could just about apply that to any critique of anything. It's too broad. Using the term disparaging with that is, I could say John is a poor discard pile host and it should be somebody else. That slightly devalues him, but so do half a dozen other things that are much less.
But Josh, couldn't you say... You could say John is a poor discard pile host. Replace him. You could say that. You could also say, I watched the last episode of the discard pile, and I think that John spent too much time pushing his agenda, and he interrupted people too often. I would like to see someone else host the show. There are differences in how that is presented.
There are slight differences, but saying he interrupted people and so forth also could be taken as disparaging. It's too broad, and we're going down the line of political correctness.
Okay, I will accept that there is a breadth to the term disparagement. I also, since we're talking about the code of conduct, let's not mince words and do this in order. The whole point of the code of conduct is that it is an evolving document. It is not this is the law carved in stone that is never going to be changed. If the definitions there are too broad, then we should tighten them. We should revise them. That could be done in a constructive process without all the toxicity that's been about this thing. I mean,
well, but when you're chopping off people's heads, there's going to be backlash.
Okay, John, let's talk about that since you want to bring that up. I got some information here. That from April to now, 262 unique users have posted on the forums.
Okay.
Okay. Just for context, the previous 3 months, so January through March, it was 259. So there was no mass drop in number of people posting on the forums pre-code of conduct and post-code of conduct.
Okay.
Eight of those 262 users, that's 3%, have had any moderation done against them.
Okay.
So I just have problems with heads are rolling when...
More than one. That's heads. Well, there's been three. 3 heads.
But that is not...
You could say things about guns. Yeah,
Sure.
Millions of people live their lives in peace, but one person gets shot, and then they want to take everyone's guns away. I mean, statistically, yeah. I mean, it's not an I mean, it's not a virus that's killing a lot of people, but heads have rolled.
I want to be clear about the scope, the context that we're talking about.
Now, pre-code of conduct, how many people left because they were being attacked and so forth?
Well, I can only give you the answers to the survey that I have. It was something like... Give me a minute. I should have pulled this up beforehand, but I didn't. Pulled a lot of things up, but I didn't think to pull this one up. Let's see. We had 107 responses.
Okay.
I'm surprised to learn there was only 107 responses.
That actually is kind of... Yeah.
It was all made public. That's not hidden information. That whole survey was made public. But
yeah, but that's a small sample, actually. I think there's, probably about 400 to 500 total, if you talk about the Trek community at large.
Well, that's out of... It's a low engagement, but it's what we got.
I know, because those are the people who are hardcore that, like, oh, I have a problem. A lot of people just don't care. And they don't... Or the people who are... Like I said, we all know that, like I said, 10% don't like...
It's a better engagement rate than most representative sample surveys get in
but we made
journalism.
You made sweeping changes based on it, but I'm just
20, Josh, about 20.
About 20. Okay.
About 20 people had reported that they left the forums because of the forum environment.
And this was an email. This was an email sent out to all prior users, right?
Every registered user on the forums.
So 20-something out of 2,700.
Well, but it's 20 out of the people that responded. I mean,
now how many of those people just didn't bother with the email? I didn't realize the email it got sent to spam for some reason on mine. Other people were mentioning it on the boards and chat. That's when I saw it.
I don't know. I mean, I can't control whether people get their email or not. I mean, we can only gather the information that we gather.
And just from my personal opinion, I think of the 20 people, it's hard to say that's 100% of their motivation for not going to the boards. I would,
I doubt that it is 100% of their motivation. It's people who reported it being a factor.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Now, out of those 259, just one last thing on that. Out of those people who are now posting on the boards in the post-COC era, does this include people who have said, hey, I'm not going to post on the boards because such and such? And I've seen multiples of that.
I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot more than 20 people. There's a lot more than 20 people who are afraid to post on the boards right now. But
okay, can you explain to me why? No one has been able to give me an answer for why.
How many people have said on the boards? Oh, well, not to catch the ban hammer, but ... Even everyone.
0.1% of posts have been actionable.
Have been actionable because how many posts are people either just not posting? I know that's happened to me a couple of times at least.
The only thing that would be actionable is if you're being a dick to somebody.
We'll
that's the spirit of the code.
Perfect.
That is the spirit of the code of conduct.
Perfect segue. I'm going to Wheaton's Law. Perfect segue, Charlie. Thank you. Charlie, you mentioned this. Hold on. You mentioned this at least 10 times during the show. You know it's not an actual law, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what is this? What is this hard on? Why am I hearing this nonstop? Don't be a dick as a guideline. It's to yourself.
Because the forums had lost the ability to do it. It was rampant, and I'm sorry, but you may not care,
rampant.
But people cared. Yes, it was rampant, John. I had
for years.
So many messages.
How many years were the boards up before the COC?
I don't know.
About 7.
7. And this is not the first time that people have been fed up with it. And this is all my fault. If you want to point fingers at me, because 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the first time I made the whole
point about Charlie, don't fall on your sword. We're not even
started yet. Sword. I'm saying that if I had put this into place in 2009 or whatever, the first time all this bullshit happened, it wouldn't matter anymore because it would be done and it would be over with.
All right, now I'm going to go to the pre-COC segment of the show, and we got to that. Chris on your show said things got worse over time. A lot of volunteers were insulted. Now, when I was early on, I was part of the committee. I remember being on the committee boards. I don't remember this. What's a lot? A lot of volunteers were insulted. I don't think that was a big problem.
I don't think that you can ever understand how much of a problem it was because you don't think it's a problem. Like, I'm not trying to belittle your opinion. Your threshold of I'm bothered is higher than I would argue the majority of people on the forums, and that's fine. You have the right to be that point. But and if you're asking,
did I lose?
We just name names of people like that. Am I not here?
Did I drop or did Charlie drop?
It just froze for about 3 seconds. So
Google.
Whatever you just last said.
Google.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Hello? I am not.
Yeah, you're here, Charlie.
People who are expressing dissatisfaction, it's not going to happen.
But were a lot of volunteers insulted? A lot? What's a lot? I don't remember in the first 5 years that when I was on the committee, North American coordinator, I don't remember this being a problem.
I'm looking to give you a rough idea.
And then, just to keep the show going, and then Charlie, you said forum participation was down, and then people wanted more moderation. Define people. 20 people that filled out a survey?
No, it was higher than that. I'll tell you what I remember rather than go digging. I had about, this is a ballpark figure, 10 volunteers in varying positions of import that were like, something has to be done because I'm about ready to walk away. And as much, it's my job to protect the community, but it's also my job to protect the volunteers. And it's a tough line to walk. And I don't want to hurt the community, but at the same time, if 10 key volunteers walk away, that's going to be pretty irrecoverable.
All right, so you said in October of last year, you called for volunteers for a special panel to gather in. Oh, go ahead.
Fact correction, that was in November.
Okay.
I was estimating I have the actual forum post. It was in the end of November.
This isn't a court of law. Don't worry. It don't matter. So late last year, you called for volunteers for a special panel to gather information that what the community would want for the message boards. Who was on this special panel?
One of the conditions of working on the panel was that they would be anonymous. They have to.
Not names.
They have.
Where did you pull them from?
There were 6 people that replied and said they wanted to be involved. I took all 6. It was an Australian, at least one Australian, at least one European, and at least one American.
My next question I have written down, is that too small a sample? That sounds like too small a sample.
Well, if I call for volunteers and get 6 volunteers, that's what I got.
Yeah, but you understand what we're saying about the other thing. You can't make broad sweeping changes based on the opinions of a small group of people. We
do all the time. We make 45 cards expansions based on the opinions of 3 people. we decide. I'm just saying.
We're not volunteers. We're not volunteers. To design, you got to have at least a certain, approval from the head lead designer. But not all. You didn't pull them off the street.
You have to be vetted, but it's still the same thing. It's still a small group of people making decisions for everybody else.
Yeah, but they're vetted. They were vetted. Like they have a certain ability to do it without.
These people were all active members of the community.
Is this what you mean by organic? This small group turning into something? Is organic? I don't like organic food. I don't want 4 hippies growing my apples and my beets. I like stuff that's processed because I know it's going to be fine. It's going to be ready to go. This whole organic thing strikes me as a way to sell it.
I don't recall organic. I don't recall saying that. I'm sure I did if you have it written down, but I'm not sure what context.
Okay, can I ask something about that particular recruiting
You said
method?
this was all done organically. This is all done organically. That's what I think. I think, well, so it was done by a small group of people in a group, but...
All right, can I ask a quick question about that post that you put up for that? Now, adding a post for that, no worries. I have no issue. You're not necessarily going to use other methods of contact for that. Now, asking for something like this, you're going to get, most likely, volunteers who have been attacked or had a specific reason to want to go on that and clean it up. They may have had an agenda. Any thoughts to that?
I mean, it's possible. I was on the panel in that I was reading what they were doing. I said nothing to influence them. I was monitoring the forum, and I'm not doing
specifically
this.
if you're putting up a thing that says, hey, we want to go and take on grudges, attacks, and escalating conflicts, which are the three specific things in the first line of that, you're going to get people that are really, really against those particular things, and probably that had an agenda. No offense to any of them. I can't say that for sure, but if you ask for something like that, you're probably going to get that. And somebody else wants in on the call.
Oh, so well, they should have messaged me earlier. I don't know how to answer people's calls. I don't want to touch anything on Google. I'm a computer monkey.
I'll be as honest as I can. I never saw any evidence of that. The process was done as what's the word I'm looking for? Neutral? No, that's not where. What's the, impartial? Impartially as I could imagine it could be. I mean, it was their idea to do the survey at all. You know, the panel was put together. The review panel was put together with the idea of just come up with a code of conduct, and they were like, "Well, we should ask people what they want to see," and that was all. Everything they did was based on that survey. Like the points on the code of conduct match up to survey responses. You know, they went above and beyond, and they were like, we should exclude the CC from having any part of this. Which that seems to be, John. You like to say a dear leader. To me, I have nothing to do with this. I don't control the moderators.
I think what Josh is trying to say is that other people have other probably agendas other than.
Everybody has an agenda, and I understand that those color everything that we do. I'm telling you just from what I remember of the process, and just a quick look back through, I didn't see any evidence of it. Maybe it was there and they were well hiding it, and I was not like monitoring every post every day, but it didn't look like there was an agenda to go after specific people. It looked like it was
no, not even to go after specific people, but to go after and take out. We're talking just drop the hammer, not the little stick prod people back into line, but we're talking drop the hammer, everything comes down, it's over.
All right, I'm going to go to the for a moment. This is a historic occasion on the discard pile. I've allowed an unannounced guest, and she shows up like a Beyonce video with her hair blowing. The wind. What is this? A diva. Look at a diva.
I'm in front of a window. What do you want?
Well,
I mean,
all right, let's.
I don't know exactly where you guys are in the conversation because you just added me, but you guys are just talking in theoreticals. You don't know how many people have vendettas. You don't know how many people have agendas. You're just saying
We're asked if there was a possibility. We asked if it was a possibility.
Yes, it is a possibility. However, these are the people that actually showed up and wanted to do something. So now you guys are coming in and saying,
and they have the time. And they have the time. And they have the time to do it.
Who actually filled out the survey? Who?
I didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
What?
You did. That's good. I did. Like, you know, you can't just sit there and say, oh, this is all bullshit. It's an organic process. If there's problems, we have to talk about it.
We just had the organic discussion.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the trigger, and that was Chicago Masters. And it was said, I think the quote was, "We need your proposal, and we need it now." And Chris even said, "We rushed it." In hindsight, was it a smart move to rush it?
Just to be clear, it wasn't. So the plan was they were going to have their proposal. They were going to give it to the continuing committee. We were going to decide if it was shit or not, post it to the public, decide on whether we were going to get public comments, decide on how we were going to do it, and then implement it. That was about maybe 10 days away from happening when the whole Chicago Masters thing happened. And maybe it was longer than that because the Chicago Masters things happened and I was like, okay, we're on martial law, for lack of a better term, for a while. And then we brought that up. But I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't think it was.
I do want to state for the record that for the trigger, I had nothing to do with it. I had absolutely to do with the Chicago Masters for once.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it. Oh, I was enjoying that one. I said, wow, a whole blow up. That had nothing to do with it at all. I just sat back on that one. So it wasn't vetted. It's the Sarah Palin of COCs. It wasn't properly.
John, it was vetted. It was vetted with the idea that it needed to be vetted quickly. It still had a lot of comments on it. We didn't let it sit as long as we normally would have, waiting for. Normally what happens when something is proposed, when there's a proposal of action, is it gets proposed, there's a flurry of discussion, there's a week or so or more where nothing happens. I or the shareholder posts, hey, does anybody have any other comments on it? There's a little bit more discussion, and then it's resolved. Right?
Okay,
there's a big gap in the middle where nobody talks about it.
Oh, I know how the bureaucracy works. Chris and Keith stepped down. You hire a whole new team, even the lead, with no experience. Is it wise to have a whole new squad with no experience?
One of the mandates of the Code of Conduct was that no CC member could be a moderator. Chris is still involved he is their advisor. He is there to answer questions, to walk them through the process, to give them advice. But he is not officially a moderator.
Who's by his own admission was burnt out and done with it.
I can't blame him.
Neither do I. I'm just saying though. You gave up. You said, all right, switch it off. Like the errata team, Josh was on the team.
For the record, it was Mark and not Keith.
I always confuse the Morrises. I apologize. all the time.
This is just showing John's anti-Canadian bias.
Yeah. No, Canadians love me. What are we talking about?
Oh,
all right, so let's go to the post COC era, and then Charlie already got into statistics. Like I said, there's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics.
I'm not trying to use the statistics to prove anything. I'm just trying to give them as context.
Everyone does. Everybody does it. I'll do it. That's what statistics are for, to try to make your point. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not holding that against you. But
the facts about how many people have had access.
Statistics are not facts. They're statistics. There's nothing. Okay. So it was a small number of bands. Four or five in 3 months. Let's say that's going to calm down a little bit. Do we really want 7 to 8 bands in a year? That's a lot, right?
You know that I want no bands, right?
But there's going to be.
If they're only going to be if people keep attacking other people. Look, you're going to bring up the point that there are people who are overly sensitive.
Oh, I will.
I agree with you that there are people that are overly sensitive. I am not going to name names, but there are people who take things way more personally than they should. That is okay. It is not their fault. I'm not going to let anybody get into the space where it's like, it's your fault that you're taking this too personally. That's where I have a big problem. That's where the whole blame the victim came from. See,
I gave Charlie a summary of what we're going to do, and he's trying to set up for me. He's being I like that. All right, let's get back to the mod squad. And talk about trust. Who are you going to trust, me or the Batman? Anyway, I think it was Chris who said we have to wait until the mod squad figures out the line. Damn, I can't read my own handwriting. I got to start getting it. Basically, it took a while for the mod squad to get its act together. That it takes time to build the trust. Isn't trust earned, Charlie?
I think that's what he was saying. He's saying that they have to earn the trust.
Yeah.
That takes time.
Well, didn't they botch that from the door with all these appealed, overturned bans?
I don't see how that's abusing the trust, though. Like that's the system that was created.
It's not abusing the trust. It's not establishing the trust. We had a bunch of people that said, "Hey," and they admitted in the posts, some other mod probably wouldn't have done this, but I said no. There were at least 3 different occasions of that right off the bat.
But isn't that the point of having a diverse group of moderators and having an appeals process? I mean, is that your problem? Is that there is an appeals process?
It's the fact that it's completely personal opinion. Like they admitted, other mods wouldn't do this, but I'm going to. So that means they know that a lot of other people don't have issue with it.
And how much of that is tied into the COC, though, and what they feel they have to do based on the rules that are in place right now?
No idea. I'm not a mod.
That's there. I don't know I don't know what they're trying to. Is it fair, Charlie? Is it fair to treat us, people like me, people who are outspoken, to treat us like guinea pigs while the mod squad has their on-the-job training?
I think that's an extremely contrived analogy. You're not a guinea pig. This is not an experiment that is going to...
I got a couple bands that says otherwise.
Okay.
I don't want to agree with John on anything.
Uh-oh! It's a trap! It's a trap! I let her in the door.
I mean, I think that it has to evolve and change and be something that is discussed appropriately. You know, just saying it sucks and this is a bunch of bullshit doesn't help anything.
Yeah, but obviously it wasn't ready before it was implemented. It was rushed, and you have a bunch of...
I think it was as ready as it was going to get. This was something that was going to have to happen and was going to have to evolve.
So we have to...
No matter what...
So we got to take it like a man, huh, Andrea? While they figure it out? I got to take my beatings?
Hey, I'm banned for 3 days. What do you want? Like...
Well, I wouldn't say take it like a woman. What do you want me? I wouldn't say that. I mean... All right, let's get to Charlie. You made a weird analogy, and it stuck with me during the show. It was your blame the victim soapbox. Charlie, if you read something on the message boards you don't like, are you a victim?
It depends on what you read.
Not like you read something that you don't like.
Is it about you? Is it about something you're involved in?
I can use an example. Would you like one? On first contact day this year, it fell on Easter, and I said, I don't know which fantastical story to celebrate: a guy raising from the dead 2,000 years ago, or aliens landing 120 years from now. And someone was offended. It got reported because Jesus is popular. A lot of people love the Jesus. I love the Jesus too. But so they read something they don't like. Is that person who read that, are they a victim?
No. But that doesn't mean that they're out of line in reporting the post.
I think they are. That's all right. Well, why should they report that?
Because it doesn't mean that the moderators have to act on it. It can be looked at, though, and see what's the context of this. Does he say, one's better than the other? Does he crucify someone for having an opinion on it? No. You have to be sensitive to these things, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Do we know why the post was reported? Maybe he's reporting it because it's there's no place for religious discussion in this forum. I'm not saying that everything that should be reported should result in an action. It shouldn't. There are people who misuse the reporting system and have for a long time. The idea is... Yeah,
but you said on the observation lounge that we're not getting to the point where people are making false reports.
We're not at the point where people are making false reports. The person who reported that post legitimately thought that post was actionable. And the
I
reason we have a
disagree
panel,
with that 100%. You don't think people have? Come on, we all know people get in nerd
did the
wars.
post get moderated?
No, because they had to be counseled. Our moderators are counselors. They have to say, no, it's okay. It's not a violation of the COC. Doesn't that prove that that side's too sensitive? That we have to have our moderators?
What is wrong with having people who support one another, John? Why is that a bad thing? It is not causing you to be affected by that at all. If somebody reports a post and is upset about it, and a moderator talks to them and makes them feel better, that's being human beings.
Should you report everything that offends you? If it's not, you should report something that you think is a violation of the code of conduct, not because you don't like it. You're telling people report everything you don't like.
No, that's not what I. That is not what I said. That is not what I said.
If you're offended, report it. You were wishy-washy during the blame the victim thing. You said if you don't interact with them, put them on your foe list, and then you say if you do interact with them, report them. I'm sorry, but I will blame the victim. I will blame the victim. If you go out in the middle of the night and you're interacting with undesirables or people that can get you into trouble, you don't deserve it, but I'm not going to be surprised that it happened. You can't say ignore them, but if you do, bring them up, snitch on them.
It's not blaming the victim. Blaming the victim is it's your fault this happened to you. It's your fault that you were sensitive and got offended. That's blaming the victim, and that's where I have a problem. There's never a situation where that is okay.
You just said don't. You said ignore them, but if you do, report them.
John, the system is the system is not perfect. I can put somebody on the foe list, right? If I put you on my foe list, for example, and then somebody replies to you quoting your post, I still see your post.
Yep.
The system is not perfect. I'm not being wishy-washy. If Josh has a problem with me, Josh should put me on his foe list and never read a post that I have. I don't think anybody can foe me.
Can you actually do that to an administrator?
Yeah, I don't think you can. That's besides the point. It's a bad example.
Ooh, let's find out.
Let's say Josh and Andrea have a problem with each other. So Josh, you should foe Andrea and just stay away from her. It's just like any
Andrea. She runs tribbles.
It's like any interaction between human beings. If you have a problem with somebody, you don't seek out interactions with them, but the reality is that sometimes you have to interact with that person. And if that person is a goddamn dick to you, then you should report it. Let me be accurate. You should report posts that you believe violate the code of conduct.
Thank you.
You should not report a post because I don't like the person who posted it. You should not report a post because it says something that I don't agree with. Those are not reasons to report a post. A reason to report a post is because you feel it violates the code of conduct. And then the moderator's job is to evaluate that report. That is why we have them.
Why am I hearing that for the first time now? 3 months after.
I don't think you are hearing it for the first time now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think warping conversations had and things said into what is required to report a post. Anyone can report a post for whatever the hell they want. How we want people to use the system is to report things they feel violate the COC, and then specifically are attacks that you personally feel. That way the mods can take a look and say, was this meant as an attack? Okay. They get a warning. Or they don't get a warning, whatever the situation is. That's why we have mods.
Well, you said during the observation lounge about people taking advantage with loopholes and stuff. So you admit that happens on both sides, right?
Absolutely. If you have a system that people can exploit, there are lawyers on both sides of every issue. There's a prosecution and a defense on every side. I am not here. The point of the observation lounge, the point of every post that I have made, is not to come on and say, this is the holy word of God, and this is a perfect document. Fucking deal with it. That is not what I'm trying to say. I am coming on to say this. For whatever, however we got to where we got, we are at the point where moderation is a fact. It is a fact. What I want everybody to do is work to make that system something that we can all live with.
I agree with that.
That's all I want. I don't want. I'm so exhausted coming on and seeing 34 pages of people bickering over stuff that we shouldn't be bickering about. Like, I understand that there are people who don't want there to be moderation. I respect you, and
No. See,
I respect that opinion.
That goes part. You
but
guys,
that's
on the show, on your show, you guys had all these extreme examples. It was, there's people who don't want no moderation at all, and then Chris said people who want to just insult each other all the time. That's not your. When you go too far making your examples, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we don't want our heads chopped off.
I've had people who have said there should be no moderation on the forums. That is a survey response. There should be no moderation. That is an actual factual thing that has been submitted to us. As for people insulting each other, that was one of the #1 complaints that we got from the original survey was, I am tired of person A and person B bickering on the forums publicly.
But you know that when there's
And
two
this was
sides.
person C saying that.
Yes, and it was person C saying that. But it's look, that's you don't want to. John, we've all been, you know, in the room when two people start arguing, and you want to get out of there as soon as possible. It's not comfortable to be in a place where there are two people having a private argument in public.
Well, some people.
Different on the forums because you know there are other places you can go, but still, like that's not the environment that you want to present to people.
Yeah, but some people don't like being told what to do. You know, you can.
But that's inevitable. There are people that don't like being told what to do. I'm sorry, but you know.
That's life. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I'm not allowed to do some things. I understand that I'm not allowed to do some things. I can go outside with a sign that says, I hate Obama, and no one can bother me. I'm an American. I'm allowed to disparage my president. I can disparage the Congress. But I can't say I'm going to go kill the president, or I want to kill the president. But still, I understand that there's limits to everything, but I don't want to be told what to do. All right, but now I'll get back to the point. Now I'll go back to the point of people being banned while they're appealing a ban, and this is one that I hit, but this fires me up for different reasons. And Chris said, I wanted Chris on the show, but I'll take the next best thing. He said this.
I am not my husband. For the record.
No, Charlie's responsible.
My husband.
No. Charlie's responsible for what Chris says, not you. And he said it had some merit while he rolled his eyes. But it was the language, and this is it's the language that troubled me. It was, your first warning is your probation. This is on your record. People have something of a history, and some people don't deserve as much leniency. And I'm saying this, and don't take this the wrong way, Charlie. Who the fuck are you to treat me like a criminal? Those words make me think a criminal. You're not the state. You can't treat me like that. Probation, leniency, history. You understand how that would off-put some people?
It's certainly not my intention to do that. But I mean, the term is apt. It's not. I'm not trying to directly equate it to like legal probation, but the idea behind the system and the warning.
Even the idea behind it offends me. You understand
the idea behind moderation offends you?
No. On your record, your first warning is probation. The language, just the language. The idea, that's what language is. A formulation of your ideas. That's, you know.
I was just trying to explain a concept, John. I understand if you take exception with the way I explained it, but I could sub a different word in there and explain the concept differently. I apologize that you were offended with the word choice that I used. That was absolutely not my intention. I'm trying to explain the idea of the concept where we understand the people who drafted the COC and the people who implemented it are aware of the fact that, as you said, to borrow your term, people have gone bibbles. People go bibbles sometimes. Sometimes you just lose your mind. I love that term. Some people.
You gotta play Arkham Horror.
Sometimes people just have a shitty day and say something awful on the forums, and frequently they regret it later. If it gets caught by a moderator and gets reported, that's the point of that first level of warning. Like, oh, I had a shitty day. I made a post I shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but then you got a warning. Shouldn't it be done after that? You had a bad day. You're warning. You had one warning.
Okay, but how do you? The whole point of an escalating system of punishment is that you escalate. How do you keep track of that otherwise?
Maybe we shouldn't have an escalating system of punishment.
So you just get warnings with no consequences?
No,
I just think it's a question of what the escalation should be.
Okay, fair enough. You don't find that troubling that people think, oh, he has something of a history, or that guy doesn't deserve as much leniency. Now, James.
To be fair, I don't think I said that. I think I was.
I know when I preface it. I said Chris didn't decide to come on. He was a guest on your show. I would take questions for a guest on my show, but you know, and he's the head programmer or whatever is. I don't know what titles. I don't care about titles. Now James. Now we all know James. He's like me. He criticizes. He says he got banned for saying something was a slap in the face, and he said my reputation preceded me, and I have to agree with him. Is that fair?
I personally believe that every report, every post should be judged on its own merits. Like the only aspect where history should come into play is just the record of action, right? Like, oh, this is his second warning in 6 months, so he goes to the next level. That's the only time that history should come into play. Like, and to be honest,
say that is what they're doing.
To be honest.
You don't think eventually everybody gets biased over time? Even cops get biased over time.
Welcome to reality. Welcome to being a human being.
It is a nice idea to strive for, and that's an amazing goal. But yeah.
And when you have a moderation team with no experience, that's not going to happen.
Who could we have gotten that was experienced, John? You keep bringing this up like we passed over experienced moderators to pick 5.
You can't implement a new system if you don't have people to operate it. You can't.
We're a volunteer community that people bring to the table what they bring to the table. I mean, we can't go out and hire.
You don't design without designers. You don't put out a set without designers. You just don't go. You don't spin the wheel. You spun the wheel.
Yeah, but every single designer that's designing cards right now started out having never made cards before.
Yeah, but they didn't start. You didn't put 3 designers. Well, let's not count the.
Yeah, let's not go down that road, shall we?
But no one. There's never been a set with 3 rookies. You know that. There's never been a set with 3 rookies.
There's a moderation team advised by the only moderator we've ever had for 7 years. I don't understand how we could have done better.
You should have waited. That's how you do it.
Waited for what, John? Waited for what?
You don't think a Chicago Masters was a bit of an overreaction? But
the Chicago Masters was the trigger that put this system into place. The system was coming anyway. I'm telling you, nothing would have changed except when it went into place.
You said people in Chicago were threatening to quit.
They were.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then guess what? Someone threatened to quit because my ban was overturned. So I don't care about people in Chicago playing it's a fake card. It's a bluff. Oh, I'm going to quit.
No, it's not, because that was not what was going on.
That's what Chicago people do.
There were people who, you see, you have to take a shot at everybody. I don't understand. You
could just not
made that comment.
They're proving a pattern of behavior. Something I don't like, I'm going to quit.
For the record, Chris says that several of the moderators did have previous moderator experience on other forums.
Is he in a cage behind you? Is he?
He messaged me. He's watching it downstairs live.
No, I don't, Andrea. I don't want to hear no little birdies from downstairs. If he could have sat down on this show. You don't have the.
Someone's got to supervise the kid.
He doesn't have the orbicular fortitude that you do, Andrea, to come on the show. All right, let's move on.
Hold on, one more thing about that.
We're not moving on. Hang on.
One more thing about that, real quick. I actually went. Chicago put on a great show. They had a great event. They ran a solid thing. If they had the opportunity to get one again, I'd be for that.
Okay. Let me rephrase what I'm trying to say. Yes, everyone in Chicago isn't an asshole. But when I hear people say, I'm going to quit, if you're from Chicago, I'm not going to pay attention to it. Chicago's fine. They ran a great show. I heard about it. Like I said, they did. But it's that it's a bluff.
Here's what's going on. That's not. Here's the reality of it. That there were people in that thread that are like, I'm quitting, I'm done, and playing the card the way you're talking about. I was also getting messages from other people that are saying, if this is how volunteers are going to be treated, why should I continue to volunteer? If volunteers are going to be putting up with this kind of abuse, why should I keep doing what I'm doing? Right? It was not one person saying, I'm threatening to quit. It wasn't even multiple people saying, fix this or I'm quitting. It was, the situation is out of control. We need to do something or we're going to just fall apart.
I'm trying not to blame the victim, but if you're volunteering to get other people's approval, you shouldn't be volunteering.
No, it has nothing to do with volunteering to get other people's approval, John. I can volunteer to do a job. That does not involve being shit on by people.
There's always going to be one in life. There's always somebody.
Yes,
shitting
John,
on you.
there are, but when it's a pattern of behavior, and the people that I'm volunteering for are not doing anything to help me.
You hear 100 people. That's how. Come on, we all know when something goes on in the committee, 99% of it is positive, and there's always a guy. There's always a guy.
I'm not talking about the guy, John. I'm not talking about the guy. I'm talking about a pattern of behavior over years where the guy turns into 2 guys, turns into 4 guys, turns into 8 guys, where comment after comment after comment go unreported, go unresolved, go unaddressed. And it creates an environment where volunteers feel that their efforts are completely unappreciated.
Yes.
One of the things that I have always prided myself on as a manager, as a support, as a personnel that has people reporting to them, is that I have your back.
You do.
If you come to me, if an employee comes to me and says I have a problem with this person, or I made this call, I'm always going to back your play. I'm always going to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Over what the other person.
And you do. And then when the volunteer does that, I got the approval of the chairman. Why do I care if I got the approval of Joe Schmo on the internet? Like
it's not about approval, John. You keep saying approval like I need 100%.
Approval. No, I said appreciation. You said about they're not getting the approval from the public. I don't
think that I did. They don't. It's not that they feel that they don't have approval. It's that they don't have support. It's that the environment is toxic.
You don't need a support of the public. You need a support of the group you're volunteering.
That's the point I'm saying. They didn't feel that the support of the people above was allowing the environment to be what they wanted to be a part of.
I see. Well, I don't agree with that. It's okay. All right,
no, look, John.
You've always been supportive. So who else hasn't been supportive? If I ever had a problem doing committee work, you've been right there. I've never had a problem working for the committee.
I'm trying to think of an apt analogy. Hey, the last time I fired you, I rehired you.
But you weren't unsupportive. That's a whole different. That's a whole different. But I said, hey man, this is if something's wrong, and it's never like, hey, go fuck yourself. Now, my sources tell me that might be a system in place that will allow you not to be banned while you appeal. Will you be okay with that?
Absolutely. I 100% agree that I'm going to go on the record as saying I think what we have right now is clearly not working. I think that the spirit is right. I think that there are a lot of it. The spirit is close to right. The implementation is off. I don't think that you should be... So let me explain the situation. Right now, the way the software works is the ban toggle is from the forums, right? You're either banned or you're not. The way the site works is everything is tied to your forum ID. So if your forum ID is banned, you can't get in the chat room, you can't get to your deck builder, you can't create tournaments, you can't run tournaments, you can't do anything because you can't log into the forums. You can't even see your private messages or send a private message to appeal your ban.
You can't read the message. You can't read the message.
Is that why we're getting social media messages from Andrea right now trying to get in?
Yes. Get in the damn chat room.
So that is the way the system works right now. That is very, for a 24-hour ban, it's probably okay, right? For like the go sleep. I don't even think there is a 24-hour ban anymore, right? I don't know.
Not crazy. The first one.
It's clearly not. It's clearly not acceptable because the forum code of conduct should not be prohibiting you from being a participant in the community, like from going to a tournament and building your decks and stuff like that. It is a technical issue in that the whole website is built around that system. There is a solution to that technical issue that is taking some time to implement.
Yeah, I know Chris is working on it, but I mean,
volunteer.
Yeah.
It will. The solution is coming where when you are banned, it is only from posting on the forums. You can still log into the site. You can still PM the moderators, and you can still access. I think the chat room is still off limits, but you can deck build and tournament administrate. That is coming, which will mitigate some of the situations. Now, I still agree with you that if you're filing an appeal, overall appeals have taken too long. Like your appeal,
Yep.
John, should not have taken 3 days. And an appeal should be prompt, if we're going to do appeals at all. If you are appealing, then you should not be banned while you're appealing. However, that should also not be a license to do whatever the fuck you want.
No, I stand by. No, I stand by it. If the system is corrupt, you rage against the system. No. I regret nothing.
Personally, I kind of think that I understand the spirit of what we're trying to do. I think we need to sort of root some things out. I would.
You opened up a prison with nothing in it. No beds, no nothing. You had a gulag, man. You sent people to Siberia.
Well, I
You
mean,
weren't ready for it.
as someone that has been on both sides of the moderation team, of both filing complaints and being now banned, I mean, it's a frustrating process. I mean, I was banned. I sent an email requesting that my warnings be looked at. Have received no email back, even that they are looking at it or got my email to begin with. Who knows how many days that'll take? I'll probably be done with my ban by the time they get back to me. So, you know, I'm taking it because I got it, but it doesn't mean that it's fun. I don't get to build decks or play in tournaments or anything else this weekend that I was maybe planning to do. So, it's frustrating.
So how does it feel to be a guinea pig, Andrea?
I am not a guinea pig.
Sure you are. You just said.
The system is getting worked on. It is growing and changing, and you know, personally, I think 3-day ban was a little harsh for what I did, but whatever.
Well. Look what we have here.
I know.
Wow, we went from take it like a man.
I apologized before. I acknowledged what I did was wrong. That's fine. I will take it. But, you know, it sucks not having access to the community when it's supposed to be about the forums and being banned from the forums. I have no problem being banned from the forums. That's fine. It's a great break. But, yeah, it sucks not being able to access things I was planning on accessing this weekend.
You didn't know that?
Finishing up Gen Conning planning and all that shit.
You didn't know that before? That you lose access to everything?
I didn't realize it was absolutely everything.
Oh boy. So maybe we regret some of the things we said to people who were banned?
Oh no.
No regrets.
I the shit I've said.
I had an ex-wife like that. No regrets. I understand. We all make mistakes.
Well, it has something with you. Have in common.
Hold on. I had to mute Charlie because his fan was. I don't know, Charlie. Can you unmute yourself? Because I can't seem to do it. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine. No, Andrea was talking, and so I didn't want to. All right, let's move on. Now, this is where the observation lounge completely went off the rails for me. It was this moderator oath, and you said it would help, Charlie. You said it would help the community build trust. I agree with the other guy, the 1E guy who said his empty words. Yeah, oaths, man. How the hell would an oath help anybody build trust?
I mean, I generally agree with oaths. It's probably the wrong word to use, but I mean, it's a contract, right? If the idea is the moderators are going to do A, B, and C, and they publicly commit to doing A, B, and C, if at any point they fail to do A, B, and C, you have, hey, you said you were going to do A, B, and C. That's your first warning. Then they fail. I agree that one of the topics that's been brought up is who watches the watchers type of situation, and this would go, in my mind, towards dealing with that, where it's like if the public could say you said you were going to do this, and here's a case where you clearly didn't, that would force the moderators to act above board and give cause for dealing with ones that don't or can't.
Wait, so they don't act above board right now?
That's not what I said.
You're just
That
trying
is
to
not
stir
what I
the
said.
pot now, Josh.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
We were fair. We didn't even gang up on Charlie before you got here. Charlie was a little afraid. He didn't want to get ganged up on, but I said, only got me and Josh.
You guys were totally ganging up on him. That's why I logged on.
Stop. We were not ganging up on him.
You were.
Oh boy. All right, Charlie. You said basically the COC's purpose was not to keep anyone from posting. And before the COC, people, you said maybe what was keeping them from posting was getting jumped on, having people give them a hard time. And now we have people who are afraid to post to catch a ban. How do we get the balance? We were this way, and now we're this way. What's the way to get the balance?
I would love to hear some thoughts on this, because I'm the only time I have not posted something, and when I was saying something like mean, when I was writing a mean post. I never felt like I couldn't post my opinion or post criticism. Granted, it's hard to do that in my position because I'm usually the one being criticized. I rarely get the opportunity to criticize in public, but help me understand why there is this fear of everything I say is going to be moderated. I don't get it.
Can I use your example? You have
Please.
the bad day at work. You get on the boards. You make a dick comment, and you get a warning for that. Okay, no worries there. 5 months down the road, something happens. I get fired. I come in. I go vent on the boards for something. Somebody reports that. I get a 3-day ban simply because it happened in 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm having
And yes,
a problem.
either one of those individual posts, I probably wouldn't have appealed and done that because I would have been a crap person to do whatever and wouldn't have won the appeal. But because of that, in 6 months, I get a 3-day ban for having 2 posts ever out of that.
But what? So what would your suggestion be? What time frame would be more reasonable?
1 month, maybe 3.
But I mean,
That would be a repeated history. 3 months even.
Can I say why the history the record and the leniency, we got to throw that out because that's what creates bias in people. It should just be the sentence fits the crime. Let's not worry about previous infractions. If you say something like an asshole, hey, here's a warning. If you say something that's really bad, hey, here's a 24-hour ban. If I go on the boards and I just spew pure vile, and I'll use all the examples Charlie likes. Charlie is a fat piece of shit. Charlie is a dirty ginger. And I just start going full like an animal. Say, hey man, you got yourself a 10-day, 15-day, like you were an animal. Let's stop worried about the criminal aspect of people with their what did he do? All right, this is what you get, and then move on.
The problem is that's not going to clean up the environment ever, because the problem is whenever you draw a line with a defined consequence, there are going to be people that are going to walk right up to that line constantly.
Yeah, and then you hit them on the head. Bang, 3-day ban. You said something 3-day.
But you never cross the line. You just keep making the warrantable offense over and over and over again.
Buddy, we walk the line every day, all of us, like you said. Welcome to reality.
I understand, but that's one of the chief complaints was the environment that creates, where that is that repeated. Yeah. Josh's example, I understand, but the counter argument to what you're saying is you're gonna end up exactly back where we were. Where
you can't.
Now you're going to end up in the situation where the guy who has the bad day and comes home goes on the really crazy rant and ends up with a 10-day ban because he had a really shitty day.
Charlie, you can't use laws to regulate decorum and civility. Only the public by themselves through people. If I say something that's just bad, all I need is a couple posts to say, yeah, man, that's messed up. Like, hey, like you're being a real.
Most people don't take the time to stand up for other people. They don't. They just ignore it.
That's the only thing that gets people to act right. You can't use law for decorum and civility. You can't have laws for that. You can't. Only the community itself can. Come on, there's a difference between the 1950s and today. It's not because we have laws in place for decorum and civility. You can't say, hey, you can't wear pajama pants at the Walmart. That's just a matter of how people want to behave and how they want to act.
No, but Walmart can say you can't wear pajama pants and come in here.
Have you ever been to the website peopleofwalmart.com?
I'm just gonna say this is a horrible example.
That was about the worst place you could have picked for
I'm
this.
saying, now you're equating the continuing committee to a government, where I'm saying in your analogy the continuing committee is Walmart.
Yeah,
we are not passing a law that says you.
What do you need? What do you need to go into a McDonald's? What do you need to go in there? A shoes and a shirt. That's it. That's it. You can't. I can go to Walmart and start. McDonald's and start acting like an asshole and just like, hey, I want this, I want that.
But then they also have the right to say leave our store.
Yeah, they have the right to say you need to leave.
Yes,
no, they want. Yeah, they can, but they won't because they want business, and like we want business too. Our business is having people traffic and having people there. I know that we can set a minimum. No, we set a minimum.
If you are harassing someone, you will be kicked out.
No, we're not talking about harassment. We're talking about reading something you don't like. Harassment is a repeated pattern of behavior. We're not talking. You're escalating it. We're not talking about harassment. All right. All right, Charlie. You also. This is my last post COC thing. It's you said criticism is explicitly protected, but then everybody adds all these caveats. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. Explicit means no confusion or doubt. I am full of that. Tell me how criticism is explicitly protected.
Can you give me an example of a caveat that somebody added that wasn't attack the person?
It has to be a constructive manner. It's always like that hollow phrase.
No. Give me, what did I say?
You said criticism is explicitly protected.
Then you said I had a bunch of caveats. What's a caveat? As far as I can remember, the only caveat I've ever said is you can't criticize the person.
Yeah, but people twist it to the person. Come on, Andrew. I criticized at Gen Con, and she made it about the volunteers of Gen Con. So people turn the switch and turn it into people all the time. So criticism obviously isn't explicitly protected. People get their words twisted. People are too sensitive. It has to be like this. It has to be constructive. It has to be not personal. But if you say anything, it gets twisted all the time. James got banned for explicitly criticizing.
He didn't get. First of all, let's be very clear. James has not been banned. James got a warning.
I'm sorry. He called a charge. I don't. People were texting me. That's the only question people wanted to ask about was that how someone says a PG.
I have nothing to do with moderator actions.
We know
you can ask me my opinion all you want.
I'm asking you to clear up how is criticism explicitly protected when there's all these rules and basically you're regulating it. It's not explicit.
Because John, you did not go on the forums and say, I think this is a bad Gen Con schedule, and here are the reasons why. You said Gen Con is going to be a shit show.
I don't know if I probably said it's going to be.
You said something to the equivalent of Gen Con is going to be a shit show.
Okay.
He's going to suck.
There's a big difference.
Okay, I said that. So what? Okay, that's my opinion.
So I'm on the panel that is planning Gen Con. We're trying to make it as fun as humanly possible.
Did I say Andrea?
My work
did I say Gen Con's going to suck because Andrea is on the volunteer? Most of the people who aren't even going are on that panel, by the way. I just said, hey, this is not looking good. Gen Con's going to suck. I also said, I said something about finally doing something about Continentals. The promo thing came up. They came up late. They were late. Come on, let's be honest. And I said, I did. I was a dick. I was an asshole. I said, yeah, good job. You finally did something.
You could have criticized and said, maybe we could have had this out sooner. Maybe this decision could have been made beforehand.
Idra, I don't want to be told how to express my opinions. I know there's a minimum. There's a certain level of what I can't do. I can't just say, hey, you're an asshole, blah, 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 you're a piece of shit. But you're trying to regulate how I express myself.
I'm raising the bar for what the expectation is of
you
how
don't
to
get to raise the bar. You don't get to
No,
do that.
society does, and I'm part of the society. So
no, that's not even true. John, the website, this goes back to the analogy where McDonald's and Walmart get to set the bar of what you are allowed to do in their
Yeah, I have
facility.
my shirt and shoes on. That's it. They want my money. It's,
I'm saying that there has been significant community feedback that they wanted that bar raised, and that's all we did.
no, we already said you had 107 responses. We dispute that. That's to dispute it. We don't. We
So do the
our
survey.
side. Our side doesn't agree that something had to be done. That was your mandate, and we don't agree with the mandate. That's all we're saying.
Okay, but that's fine. You don't agree with the mandate. You don't have to. Help me make
So do the survey again.
my counter mandate is if this is
I
a
said no
mandate,
referendum.
or moderation is a mandate, and it's happening, make it as good as we can make it. And I think we're having a good discussion, but you can't deflect. I don't know what to say.
Right, we had a good discussion. We'll end it on that part of the discussion. And I'm gonna yell about triples for a second. You spoiled 10 ante. Oh man, 10 ante. How is this a non-discard discard? Josh Cheats is gonna he's gonna fuck this all up. You can't give Josh this type of card.
No, you can't.
Josh, what are you gonna do with this card?
I'm not saying anything about triples. This is up to Charlie what he wants to talk about.
No, the art looks fine. Andrea did her job, but
Big fan of Neelix Froze.
Yeah, I'm okay with the art. You did your job. Now I want to know with people aren't responsible. That's all I'm saying. People can't play triples right, and their names are usually Josh Sheets.
Usually.
Well, I play with him every Wednesday. A lot of people don't play triples right.
Exactly. That's all I was going to say.
There are a lot of triples in this set that deal with a lot of the stuff that's been going on for the last year or so.
There's going to be a lot of fun new stuff.
This card in particular is, I understand what you're saying is it's a non-discard discard. But it's not, as we were talking about earlier, it's not it's not an optional thing. If you play this and there are 3 people at one card, they're all going out.
Yeah, but people,
Yes.
I know
that is not a bad thing. That is addressing one of the concerns, which is we want to see more points from going out and less points from in the middle of the round, and we want to see faster games.
It's playing a stampede and doing it and having people go out if that happens. I mean, you get rid of a card from your hand.
Yeah, but like most cards, there's a benign intention, and then there's the reality intention. The benign intention is to get people to play Kapla. The reality intention is people like Josh get their rocks off by making 4 people go out at the same time. That's all they're trying to do is get some bogus achievement.
I would argue that's not a bad thing. Getting 4 people at the same time is that many more points for everybody.
Okay. All right. Okay.
On the other hand, it is a plus for Kapla because I think in all of my time playing tribbles, I've only ever seen Kapla go off twice.
I've never seen anybody hit it.
Once for 7 points.
The other thing is it's a subtle anti-rescue card too, right? Because this is a discard that's not in my discard pile, so I can't cycle it, I can't rescue it. It doesn't get recycled back into my deck. It's a card that's gone in terms of me accessing it. So it's a layered power. It's pretty interesting.
Now, Charlie, you said it was tested, right? It was vetted. We're good to go. There won't be no problems.
Yeah, we test all our triple stuff.
Oh, I know. Oh no. Hey, triple. I already said on the boards. Triples is a DMZ zone. There's no drama allowed at the triples. Nope. But all right, going into the future, Charlie, tell me why I should be positive that the message boards will calm down. People will come together, and Andrea. I don't want to see Andrea get banned again. She's a menace to society. It's only a matter of time.
For God's sakes.
Nobody's safe anymore, Charlie.
I understand that there are a lot of factors at work here, and there are people that don't want there to be any moderation, and I understand that. And there are people that don't like change, and this is a fairly big change. I understand that too. Here's the reality of this though, is that 99% of the time, 99% of the posts are fine. There are hundreds of threads, thousands of posts. Every day, moderation to be. I'm so sad and frustrated and angry that it seems to be all that anybody wants to talk about. And it's not even. I'm trying to. You guys, I have a lot of. But listen, I have a lot of respect for the people that are like, we're talking about it because we want to make it better. And that's a process. That takes time. It's not, continuing committee is not rapid response for the most part. It takes time for things to happen. I just, why have we lost the sense of we're all here to play a game and have fun, and like there are points on both sides. There are points that there are some people
because we're nerds, Charlie. We're nerds, all of us. That's why.
I understand, but like, guys, you asked me what to say. Why should we be positive? You should be positive because there are some amazing things coming. There's some really cool things coming for 2E. There are some really cool things coming for 1E.
No, I don't want to sell.
Just listen.
Go ahead.
Let him talk.
The point
Andrew's
is,
never seen this show before.
the amount of stuff that is affected by this should be so small, and for whatever reason it's being blown up into a bigger thing than it really is. And I'm not trying to belittle the people that have criticisms. I'm not. I'm listening, and I want to make some changes, and I would, if it were up to me, I would make some changes on how we do things. But we're not going to go back to the way there needs to be changes. I agree with you, but we're not going to go back to a system where there isn't a code of conduct and there are not a panel moderators. That's a thing. We just need to make that a system that the vast majority of us can accept.
What was my? I said, how do we get balance? That's all. That was my question. I didn't say.
We get balance by continuing to discuss it and not making it enemies. Not making it a North versus South. Not making it a Republican versus Democrat. We need to make it a joint committee where we work together to figure things out. It's got to be about that spirit of Star Trek and cooperation, where we're like,
yeah, but you weren't even united, even implemented. There are members of the committee, your vice chairman, your 2E brand manager, Josh Sheets, your Radazar, who are not even on board. You're not even a cohesive unit from the top implementing this. So don't we have to? You have to come together.
He doesn't do anything. Like,
all right,
I don't give votes in anything.
Well, he's a vice. He's a vice president. I know he don't really matter, but
But I mean, it's not a unanimous thing, and it's never going to be. But the more than a majority. It wasn't quite a super majority, but like more. I think like 2/3 of the CC members that voted on it voted yes. Voted make this happen. That's a pretty strong support.
Make something.
I bet you that if we have this survey that the one guy's running, right? I'm gonna wager that support for moderation is about in the same ballpark, is in about 2/3. The reality is that
some moderation,
yes, not as is, some moderation, which is what we're talking about. We are talking about having some moderation. Because, like I said, I don't think what we have right now is working perfectly.
Yeah, but I can use that survey to justify my point that a lot of people, what would you do if you were the head moderator? Ban Killer B, ban Killer B. So there is a witch hunt. There's a witch hunt mentality.
But John, if there is a witch hunt, your ass would be out of here.
Yeah, by some people there's a witch hunt, and that's why my reports get posted more than anybody, because.
But your reports don't get acted on more than anybody.
Well, Andrew has taken over my role as chief.
The ultimate goal is there are always going to be people that are like ban Killer B and be done with it, because you just have to accept that you have made enemies in your life. That is a consequence of your actions.
I'm not a victim. I'm not.
But I'm not going to do that. The system is not created. If I wanted to go on a witch hunt, I could have just banned the people that.
No,
that
not
I wanted
you.
to witch hunt.
No one said Charlie Plaine is going. This is Charlie Plaine's witch hunt. All right, now I'm glad I got two separate guests. I'm going to ask Josh what he would do to fix it. I'm going to ask what Andrew would do to fix it. Josh, go ahead. What would you do to fix the situation?
There's a lot. Probably, yeah, I know. That's I was okay with the previous moderation, which apparently most of the rest of the community wasn't, according to numbers and/or decisions made. The quickest thing, it is a learning process. The escalation and time frames would be probably the first thing I would change, if anything. That'd be about it.
What about the level of infraction? Don't you think?
That would be the escalation part.
But I thought you meant. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the escalation as 3-day, 10-day.
Between that and then your time frames of what you have. 6 months seems a little broad. 3 months, maybe 1 month's not too long enough. 3 months might be a happy medium. I don't know.
So you're just saying scale everything back. Doesn't need to be.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Right now it just seems a little too heavy, as I mentioned earlier. Drop the hammer instead of fine-tune it with the screwdriver and/or wrench.
Now, I know what Andrea's answer would have been a week ago before she started catching bands. But as of now, Andrea, what would you do if you were to fix the community?
I agree with Josh that I just think it needs to be fine-tuned. I think that, there needs to be consideration for the fact that we all are human and have crappy days, and I agree that it shouldn't be 6 months that you have this record, or if it is, there needs to be more room for more warnings. There needs to be some kind of scale variant here, and maybe 3 days as the first ban isn't the most appropriate for some of these things. Maybe there should be a scale in place for the type of why you're getting the ban. If you're getting the ban because you went completely batshit crazy and personally attacked a bunch of people, yeah, it should be more than 24 hours. If you say a snarky remark and that's your second infraction and you get 3-day ban, probably not working how it's supposed to. So I just think it needs to be fine-tuned.
Can I have one more thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is, and some of the moderators themselves, they seem to be a little, we'll go hair trigger if that. And I've said this, made this on multiple posts. I'm a big fan of the Sykes warning, the hey, we're here, we're watching this. We're not doing anything yet, but keep it in line. Those tend to calm a lot of those threads down, as opposed to just first one gets a mod action on it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And do I get to answer this question too, John? Do I get to say what I would change?
I was going to let you have
nice. Be nice, let him.
Well, I kind of gave you the last word already on this. But go ahead. Absolutely, go ahead.
I think
Terminator starts at 4:15. I got to get the Terminator by 4:15.
I agree with what Josh was saying about the scale. I think 6 months is too long. All I would do right now is just change it to 3 months and see how that floats for a while. I'm not convinced that this whole immediate action followed by appeal is the way to go. I think instead maybe what we should do is get rid of the appeal action and sort of say a moderator says, I think this is actionable, and then 2 other moderators agree, and then the action happens and it's done. There's no appeal. Like, rather than that would sort of deal with the situation that you were talking about, Josh, where it was, somebody pulls the trigger real quick and is like, this is, or where you have different standards being applied by different moderators, which if you made it so that moderator A is like, ooh, this is a problem. If it's really a problem, 2 more moderators will jump on that pretty quickly, and the action happens, and then it's like there's no ban because 3 moderators thought that was bad enough to moderate. You don't get an appeal; it's just done. I think the appeals process is actually doing more harm than good.
Well, it's certainly not functioning. Like, it's not.
Maybe leave the appeals process in place for like when you get to the last heavy, 2 steps.
Yeah, heavy ban.
The super heavy stuff. But for 24 for warnings and the low level ban, I would just be, if you did it, you did it, just done.
Well, I also said maybe it should take a second moderator, because I got rung up.
There should at least be that, maybe 3, maybe 2, maybe 4. I don't know. There's some number has to agree that it's like
at least be second and like it should be. Yeah. Okay.
What we have right now is great if we keep is not great. What we have right now works with the appeals process because that's the catch for the person who's the moderator who's like is too liberal. I would rather just say, rather than have that on the back end, let's put it on the front end and say you need X nominations for an action to happen. That would be what I would change. I just think the appeals process it's with 6 moderators in different time zones, it's always going to take too long. We're always going to end up with drama out of the appeals process, whereas the chance of there being drama because a person got banned is
the problem having the appeal process too early is people's dramatic reactions to overturned or upheld bans that you don't need. That you don't need for a 24-hour.
Yeah, it really should just be like, moderator A nominates it, 2 more moderators sign off on it, and it happens. It's just
and that's why you can't have an escalating. Oh, well, this is your 3rd time, so now you get 40 days in a slammer, because you're going to get people. All right. Well, we brought everyone together. Did we do a good job today?
I don't want to kill you. That's a good point.
I just want people to stop throwing things and maybe sit down and try to figure stuff out. That's what I would like to see.
That's what you're doing here. You got to get together. And I want to mention that Andrea refriended. I tried to Facebook friend her years ago, and she.
Oh, I denied it.
She X'd that shit. But like all the girls, she saw the light and she came back, and now we're Facebook buddies. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, the announcement is: if you see a tractor trailer roll up to your house, that's me, and I expect your hospitality and a game of Trek, because I'm going to be on the road now. I am everywhere. So if you're anywhere in the North America, I'm going to pull up to your house. That's it tonight. This has actually been a good show. I think we actually, for once, I think I accomplished something in my miserable life. So thanks to Andrea for showing up. Beyonce, thanks for showing up. I love your video. Charlie and Josh, Greasy Ducat. I'm kicking everyone out of the Discord file. Good night.